So I've been sitting on this for a while now, wondering if I should share what happened. It's the kind of thing that makes you rethink your entire life, your decisions, and the people you trust. But maybe by telling it here, it will give me some kind of closure or at least help someone else in a similar situation. I apologize in advance for the length, but if you stick around, you'll get the full story. I have been married to my wife, Emma, for about 7 years. We met in college and everything was perfect, or so I thought. We were the couple that everyone thought had it all together. We had a good circle of friends. We laughed together, traveled, and made plans for the future like most married couples do. But about a year ago, things started to change. Emma began acting distant, less affectionate, and always seemed to have her face buried in her phone. At first, I chalked it up to work stress or just the natural ebb and flow of a long-term relationship. But deep down, I knew something was off. There were too many late-night girls' nights and random business trips that didn't add up. I tried confronting her a few times, but she always brushed me off with excuses, claiming that I was being paranoid or overreacting. I wanted to believe her, I really did, but that gut feeling wouldn't go away. Fast forward to about 2 months ago, I had been planning a weekend trip to visit my parents who live about 5 hours away. Emma seemed unusually excited about me going, which raised more red flags, but I didn't think much of it at the time. Maybe she just wanted some time to herself. We all need that occasionally, right? Well, I went to my parents' house and had a decent time, but that nagging feeling in my gut wouldn't leave me alone. On the second day, I decided to head back home early without telling Emma. I don't know what I was expecting to find, but I felt like I needed to be back. I just knew something was going on. I drove straight home, parked a few houses down so she wouldn't hear me coming, and quietly let myself in. Everything seemed normal at first until I noticed a pair of men's sneakers in the hallway that definitely weren't mine. My heart started racing. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, trying to calm myself down before heading upstairs to our bedroom. And there she was, Emma, in our bed with some younger guy. I didn't even have time to process the fact that it was really happening, because at that moment, everything inside me snapped. I walked into the room and they both froze, looking like deer caught in headlights. The guy, who couldn't have been more than 22, jumped out of bed, scrambling to get dressed. I could see the fear in his eyes, but I wasn't focused on him. My attention was on Emma. She was pale, her mouth open, struggling to come up with some excuse or explanation, but I didn't want to hear it. Without saying a word, I turned around and walked out of the room. I think that scared them both more than if I had blown up right then and there. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of seeing me lose my temper. No, I had a better idea. For the next week, I acted like everything was fine. I didn't mention what I saw. I didn't confront her again. If anything, I was even nicer to her than usual. Emma, on the other hand, was walking on eggshells, probably wondering when I was going to explode. But that wasn't the plan. I spent that week quietly putting things in motion. I contacted a lawyer, gathered evidence of the affair texts, photos, everything, and made sure I had a solid case. I also started moving some of my money into a separate account and slowly removing anything valuable or sentimental from the house. I didn't want to leave anything behind. Then came the day of reckoning. I waited until the following weekend when I knew Emma would be home and invited a few friends over, people who knew us both well. They had no idea what was coming. After everyone had arrived, I called Emma into the living room and asked her to sit down. She looked confused, but she did. Then, in front of everyone, I calmly laid out everything I had discovered. I told them all about her affair, how she had brought her young lover into our home, into our bed while I was away visiting my parents. I even showed them the evidence. The look on her face was priceless. She didn't know whether to cry, beg for forgiveness, or try to defend herself. But it didn't matter. I had already made up my mind. I wasn't there for an apology. I was there for revenge. I had always heard stories about people finding out their partner was cheating and reacting in crazy ways, destroying property, screaming matches, maybe even violence, but that's not me. That's never been my style. I don't believe in giving someone the satisfaction of seeing you completely unravel. The best revenge is always quiet, calculated, and thorough. The silence in the room was deafening as I handed her the divorce papers. I had worked out a deal with my lawyer that was as brutal as the situation deserved. Thanks to the evidence I had gathered and a few strategic financial moves I made beforehand, she wasn't getting much. The the house, which had been in my name since before we got married, was staying mine. Our savings, mostly mine too, since she had been spending much of hers on her secret outing. She didn't know it yet, but she was about to lose the cushy, comfortable life she had taken for granted. And to twist the knife just a little deeper, I had invited one more guest to our little get-together, her young lover's girlfriend. Yes, you read that right. Turns out the guy Emma was sneaking around with wasn't exactly single. He had a girlfriend, a sweet girl named Emily, who had no idea what her boyfriend had been up to. After I found out about the affair, I tracked her down and filled her in. She was devastated but thankful that I told her the truth. I invited her to this little showdown to make sure everyone involved got a front row seat to the consequences of their actions. When Emily walked into the room, you could see Emma's face drain of all color. She tried to say something to her, but Emily cut her off. She had come prepared to. In front of everyone, she slapped a folder down on the table containing screenshots of conversations between Emma and her boyfriend. Apparently, their relationship had been going on for longer than I had even suspected. They had been sneaking around for months, laughing behind my back, and even planning to run away together once Emma figured out how to leave me without losing too much in the divorce. It was like watching her world come crashing down in slow motion. All the lies, all the manipulation, everything was out in the open, exposed for what it really was. There was no running from it now. Emma tried to apologize first to me, then to Emily, but it was too late. The damage was done. I told her to pack her things and leave the house by the end of the week. I wasn't interested in talking, arguing, or hearing any more excuses. She could go live with her young lover or figure out another plan. But she was out of my life for good. Emily, for her part, handled it like a champ. She thanked me for inviting her and walked out with her head held high, even though I knew she was heartbroken inside. It was a weird moment of solidarity between us two people betrayed by the ones they trusted most. As Emma stood there in disbelief, probably trying to process everything that had just happened, I walked out of the room. I didn't need to see her break down. I didn't need to hear any more lies. I had gotten my revenge, and it was more satisfying than I ever thought it would be. Thanks for sticking with me through this wild ride. If you enjoyed the story or felt connected to it in any way, make sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe for more intense tales like this one. Remember, betrayal has a way of coming back around, and sometimes the best revenge is simply moving on. Stay strong, stay smart, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.